Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back. Now, think about this for a sec. If you wanted to maybe cut back on drinking, it used to feel like you had, two options? Those kind of formal meetings, maybe folding chairs involved, or that really awkward, oh, just a soda for me, thanks, or you feel like you owe everyone your life story. But now, it's totally different, isn't it? Support is literally showing up in your social media feeds. You might stumble across a Reddit thread, or maybe even get a random message from someone who someone who gets it. So today, let's get into how these online communities are just completely changing the game for sobriety support. It's not always about some big announcement, sometimes it's just about finding your people online. And honestly, this stuff matters because rethinking your relationship with alcohol can feel, kind of weird sometimes, especially in a world where happy hour feels like, a national requirement, deciding you want to hit pause or maybe just even peek under the hood of your own drinking habits. It can feel like you're suddenly speaking a whole different language than everyone else. And that's exactly where these online spaces are such a game changer. They're kind of like a backstage pass, permission to question the norm, a place where saying, nah, I think I'm good in that next one, might actually get you a virtual fist bump instead of weird looks. These communities are really normalizing that middle ground because, let's be real, most of us aren't in some huge dramatic crisis. We just kind of want to navigate life feeling a little bit better, maybe. And get this, the studies back this up. There's research showing that online peer support can seriously cut down on that feeling of shame. It can boost your motivation and really help you, stick with the changes you want to make. So maybe your first step isn't walking into a physical room. Maybe it's just scrolling to Reddit and thinking, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And that's a totally valid and honestly a potentially really powerful way to start. Okay, so where are these digital support networks actually hanging out? Well, Reddit is massive, huge. You got places like Stop Drinking. Picture it like this giant global water cooler conversation. But, without the awkward off the small talk, you see daily check-ins everywhere. People just popping in. Yep, still here, still sober. You find these incredibly honest posts like, okay, day 10, still feeling a bit foggy, but man, I actually feel good. People asking for advice, sharing their struggles, their setbacks with just amazing vulnerability. And then you see this flood of supportive comments from total strangers who've actually been there. And it's not just feel good vibes either. There was a study back in 2021, Journal of Medical Internet Research, I think. It found these online forums genuinely provide real emotional and informational support. And that support builds confidence, helps people stay on track. Interestingly, some research even suggests that the anonymity can actually lead to more honesty than face-to-face sometimes. Then, of course, you've got Facebook groups, Slack channels too. These tend to be a bit more focused, more niche. Maybe you're a sober parent just trying to survive bedtime, right? Or a bartender who actually prefers mixing mocktails. Or maybe you're someone doing a dry January challenge, even if it happens to be October. Point is, there's probably a group specifically for you. And inside these spaces, it's a real mix. You'll see people trading practical tips, venting about tough days, sharing hilarious memes that just hit right, recommending their favorite non-alcoholic beers or wines, asking those, is this normal? Does anyone else feel this way? Questions, and getting surprisingly quick and really helpful answers. There's just this real comfort, in connecting with people who are in the exact same boat. It really helps solidify your identity around this change in a positive way. And that's so important for making new habits stick long term. Okay, shifting gears a bit, Instagram and YouTube. This is where things get really visual. Think about those before and after photos, but not just about weight loss, more about that healthy glow coming back to someone's skin, the sparkle back in their eyes. You can almost see the increase in energy. People share their morning routine, sometimes talk about how their anxiety has just kind of melted away. And on YouTube, you get these longer vlogs. People really dive deep into what's working for them, what didn't work, where, and what it's actually like trying to socialize without a drink in your hand. It's almost like having the friend who's been through it, showing you the ropes, except, they're on your screen while you're probably chilling in your comfy pants. And you know what? Seeing really is believing sometimes. When you see what's possible for other people, it just makes it feel that much more achievable for yourself. And then there's TikTok. TikTok, the land of short, sharp, often really entertaining content. Here, sobriety support often comes disguised as like comedy or quick tips. You'll find creators showing you how to gracefully dodge drinks at a wedding, or funny, low-key ways to say no thanks without needing to give a whole speech. Even surprisingly creative non-alcoholic drink orders you hadn't thought of. The whole vibe is often less about perfection, more about sharing what actually works in the messy reality of everyday life. It's relatable, often genuinely funny, sometimes surprisingly raw and vulnerable. And yeah, kind of inspiring too. Plus, think about the algorithm, just the sheer repetition of seeing these sober positive messages popping up on your For You page. That can actually start to subtly shift how you perceive things. It can make the idea of drinking less seem not just okay, but maybe even, I don't know, aspirational, cool, even. So, the big question, why do these online spaces actually work so well for people? I think it boils down to a few key things. First, accessibility. It's just massive. There are no fees usually, no dress code. You don't even have to use your real name or show your face if you don't want to. You can just browse, read, maybe eventually chime in when you feel comfortable. Zero pressure. Second, they foster incredible honesty, like really raw honesty. Sometimes people share their slip-ups, their awkward moments at parties, their tiny little wins for the day, and they do it without that fear of judgment hanging over them. That authenticity creates a genuinely safe space. And that safety, that's where real change can actually start to happen. They're also packed with practical stuff. It's not just emotional support, though that's huge. People are sharing real, actionable advice. Everything from amazing mocktail recipes you can actually make, Duo tips for getting better sleep, which would be tough early on, quick ways to boost your mood when you're feeling low, even suggestions for helpful supplements. And finally, these communities love to celebrate, seriously. Doesn't matter if it's 1 day sober, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, every single step forward gets a virtual high five, tons of encouragement. And that positive reinforcement, it's genuinely, powerfully motivating. Now, while these online communities are fantastic for the mental and the emotional side of things, it's also really important to think about what your body is physically going through when you cut back on alcohol. And that's where this idea of functional wellness kind of comes into play. Think of it as supporting your body's own natural processes to feel better overall, especially when you're making a big lifestyle change like drinking less or stopping altogether. You often hear about things like milk thistle and ashwagandha in these kinds of conversations online. Milk thistle, for example, is traditionally known for supporting liver health, which makes sense, right? Given the extra stress alcohol puts on your liver, so milk thistle might help ease that burden, support its natural detox processes. It's thought to work through antioxidant effects, right down to the cellular level. Then there's ashwagandha. That's what they call an adaptogen. The way I think about adaptogens is like a thermostat for your body's stress response. Your stress hormones, like cortisol, can get a bit out of whack when you change your drinking habits. Ashwagandha can potentially help bring things back into a healthier balance, which might mean, fewer mood swings, maybe less anxious thinking. You can actually find both of these ingredients together in a product called Daily Restore. It's basically designed to give your body some extra backup while you make these changes, kind of complementing all that great mental and emotional support you're finding online, physical support alongside it. So who is all this really for? Who are we talking to here? Honestly, it's for anyone who's started to get that little feeling, that nagging sense that maybe their current drinking habits aren't really serving them anymore, but maybe they don't feel like they quite fit into the traditional support programs. It's definitely for people in that gray area of drinking. You're not necessarily hitting some dramatic rock bottom, but you're also not feeling entirely great about your relationship with alcohol either. Honestly, it's probably for you listening right now if you've ever had that thought, that quiet little whisper of, maybe I should drink less. And then maybe, just maybe, you found yourself opening up Instagram or TikTok instead of, the phone book. So the big takeaway here, I think, is this. You don't need a label. You don't need some rigid, complicated plan to start exploring a different relationship with alcohol. You really don't. What's so incredibly powerful about these online communities is that they offer support that meets you exactly where you are right now, whether that's just scrolling through your phone late at night when you can't sleep, or maybe just dipping your toes in, reading a few posts when you have a quiet moment. It doesn't matter if you're on day 1 or year 3. The simple act of scrolling through these spaces, of just observing, that can be a form of support in itself. It's kind of a quiet way to find connection, to find strength, even when you're not quite ready for anything else yet, just exploring your options. So yeah, if any of this has resonated with you today, go take a look. Explore some of these online spaces. Could be Reddit, could be Instagram, whatever feels right. It might just be the beginning of a really interesting and maybe even transformative journey for you. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor, leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.